Hi and welcome along to DR Sports. I'm joined by AGT and we are here because they have just announced the England squad for the next couple of Nations League games. Two big games actually against Italy and Germany. So Germany at Wembley, that's going to be tasty, and Italy as well. So and I know Italy didn't make the World Cup and that, but they're two good tests. And the last two games really of this magnitude before the World Cup.
Yeah.
So important games.
Absolutely, and the squad that England have picked, I think, has got some question marks over it. But before we get into that, Rob, little present for you. I know it was your birthday very recently, so
thank you very much.
Motivate vodka. I got that from Charlie Sloth himself.
Oh, very, very, very nice. Thank you.
Enjoy it, man.
I'm going to find out what Charlie Sloth's made of. No, it's very nice. Thank you very much.
Man. Enjoy it. Everything else you got is gold, so look, it matches up. You get me?
Oh, very nice. Oh, thank you very much, man.
Enjoy it, man.
Now, let's get into the team. Let me read through it. I'll do the goalkeepers, you do the defenders, midfielders. I'll do the midfielders, you do the forwards. The goalkeepers, Nick Pope of Newcastle, Aaron Ramsdale, Arsenal, and Dean Henderson, of course, of Nottingham Forest, on loan from United. Defenders?
Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ben Chilwell, Connor Cody, Eric Dyer, Mark Guéhi, Reece James, Harry Maguire. That's a question mark. Luke Shaw, John Stones, who scored a great goal last night. Fikayo Tomori, I'm very happy about that inclusion. Kieran Trippier and Kyle Walker.
Midfielders, Jude Bellingham, Mason Mount, Calvin Phillips, Declan Rice and James Ward-Prowse.
And then up front in the forward position, you've got Tammy Abraham, Jared Bowen, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Harry Kane, Bukayo Saka, Raheem Sterling, and the new boy, the one that absolutely tore up the Premier League a few weeks ago with a hat-trick. It's Ivan Toney. Gets his England debut.
Deserved. Let's start on that. It's Ivan Toney's first time getting into the England squad. What a journey it's been for him. I think he started off playing football at Northampton Town, played for Peterborough.
Yeah. Well, he was
went
at
Newcastle, didn't work out.
Yeah,
didn't work out for him at Newcastle. And now Julian Brentford was prolific in the Championship. A lot of people are, can he really do it though? What about the Premier League? Well, he's done it in the Premier League for more than a season, and I think it's great to see him rewarded with a place in the squad, and I hope he can get some game time.
Yeah, me too. I think he's that kind of striker that maybe England don't really have at the minute. I mean, obviously you've got Harry Kane who can play in the 9 or 10, but for me, Ivan Toney is like a 9.5 because he can assist, he can take free kicks, he can take penalties, as we've seen. Scored a free kick the other day. And
if we get a penalty, who takes it?
He has to have it. On form. Harry Kane missed one recently.
And I love how he takes the penalties as well.
And he's cool as ice when he steps up to take one. But yeah, Ivan Toney, and I think it's a good example that he's shown now to other strikers who maybe haven't really made it at the start of their career, with all due respect to him, but can flourish later on, and you can still get picked. If you look at the likes of Ollie Watkins, Danny Ings, they probably missed out because of him. But I think in the Premier League, the highest goal-scoring Englishman in the last 2 years has been Harry Kane, and Ivan Toney's been second, Tammy Abraham third, and I think Sterling fourth. So numbers-wise, stats-wise, he offers something different, but he should be there based on his stats.
What I like about him as well, he's a very confident player. You know what I mean? He really backs himself, and deserved to
Big Liverpool fan as well, Rob.
Oh, is he? Yeah. Well, maybe I don't like him that. But no, well done to Ivan Toney. Deserved place in the squad.
For sure.
However, there are some other players in this squad where I am baffled.
Yeah, me too.
And I have to say, I'm not sure if these are deserved place. Now, you said his name, and probably the big standout one is Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
How is Harry Maguire? You can't get in the Manchester United starting lineup. Started at the start of the season, was really poor, ended up being dropped. How is he in the England squad?
Because he's like that with Southgate. If he didn't have that relationship with Southgate, who I think Harry Maguire could make 10 mistakes every game in a row and Southgate would still pick him. That's how close their relationship is. Is he the best English centre-back? Absolutely not. Is he playing regularly, which is one of the prerequisites of getting picked for England? Absolutely not. So people like ourselves sitting here wondering how has he got in there? It's purely on his relationship with Southgate.
I think, all right, let me be fair to him.
There can't be anything else.
Let me be fair to him. When he does play for England, he does well.
Yeah.
I think he's done well for England in the past. Remember, at the World Cup, he was one of our best players. You know what I mean? When we were there, He wasn't too bad in the Euros as well. He was all right. I get it. A manager can look at a player and say, you know what? When he plays for me, he never lets me down. But he's so badly off form at the moment. Is this just like Gareth Southgate sort of trying to prove a point by saying, you know, if I drop him, it might ruin his confidence even more?
Yeah, could do.
So I'm going to show that I've, sort of showing that thing that I'm going to stick by you. I back you. I trust you. And then he may get that back from Maguire, because I don't think Maguire is a poor player. I just think the system at Man United probably doesn't suit him, but he's just not getting any game time. It's a bit of a shock.
Especially for the captain of Manchester United not to be even involved. We've heard rumours that other senior players at United maybe wanted him dropped due to the mistakes he was making. But me personally, and again, I'm not picking this team, so listen to me or don't listen to me, but me personally, the best two most on-form centre-backs in that list for me, Mark Guéhi and Fikayo Tomori.
Yeah, you know what, and I'm going to be fair again here, right? I'm on DR Sports, so I'm going to be fair here. Eric Dyer's got into the squad from Tottenham. I think he deserves to get in. I think he's when he first sort of went in as a centre-back at Tottenham last year, he's done really, really well. And again, he's carried it through to this season. Tottenham's defence has been solid, and he's been one of the reasons why. And I think that Eric Dyer, as a centre-back, deserves to get into the squad. Now, I would have liked to have seen, my guy Ben White in there.
Unlucky not
I'm a bit shocked that he's been left out. Now, I'm just wondering, is it because he's been played as a right back at Arsenal at the moment? Well, and by the way, he's been exceptional in that position. But I just don't understand how Harry Maguire, gets in. Even Connor Cody.
Yeah, agreed.
Connor Cody, we know, is outstanding and sometimes in a back three. But Connor Cody gets in front of Ben White. Maybe I'm being a bit biased, I guess.
I think you've got full rights to say that. Connor Cody moves to Everton. Yeah. Let's face it, they don't keep many clean sheets.
He's discarded by Wolves because he wasn't that great last season, was he?
Absolutely. Do you think there's
quite limited in that he's only ever seems to, really flourish in a back three. Yeah. So I'm a bit surprised by that one as well. But there's one that surprises me even more than the Harry Maguire one. As a matter of fact, I find this one an absolute shock, and that is Luke Shaw. How is Luke Shaw in this England squad? I don't get it. I mean, he's been very, very... He was poor towards the end of last season. He was poor the last time he played for England.
Yeah.
And he's been poor this season. He's been dropped out of the Manchester United squad. He's been nowhere near it. How is Luke Shaw in England? I mean, I get it. All right, you backed Maguire. I understand that one because he's not let England down. Not to say Shaw has, but I'm just shocked that Luke Shaw is in the England squad if the manager's always talking about backing players on form.
Yeah, and Luke Shaw, again, another one who's totally been ghosted really by Erik ten Hag since he's come in. I mean, you mentioned there about Ben White, him being a right back. Maybe that is the reason why they've stopped him from going in, because you've got Trippier, Walker and Trent there.
Yeah, but listen, even though he's been playing as a right back, we know he's an exceptional centre back as well. So
that's where I'd play
you could have played him, still could have come in as a centre back. But I
totally agree with you on the Luke Shaw.
And the thing is about Ben White as well, he's a ball playing centre back. So when it comes to playing the ball out from the back and that, he's exceptional at that. He's Connor Cody. I'm not sure, but as I said, the Luke Shaw one surprises me. It really does.
Do you think he'll play over Chilwell though?
Well, he can't, can he? Well, and even Chilwell's not been playing. I think it's one of the worrying things about this whole England squad, right? Is that how many players that normally what's been great is that they're all starters for their clubs. Yeah. There's a lot of players in this England squad that haven't been on the greatest of form, and Luke Shaw is 100% definitely one of those players.
Yeah.
Are you surprised he's in there?
Massively. Do you think there's any other shouts that we're seeing that maybe could have got in as a defender, maybe as a centre-back? Let us know in the comments if we've missed any out, but have England missed any out? With defenders especially, I think we're seeing...
Tyreek Mitchell?
Tyreek Mitchell, I think he should have got his first call up in a squad like this. But I think there's maybe a couple of more, and I think these names are starting to get a bit recycled now. We mentioned Shaw and Maguire. I mean, Shaw scored in the final of the Euros last year. Maybe that's his credit's not run out from that yet.
Talking of Luke Shaw, I want to hear from you guys. Should Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire be in the squad? I got another one now. Another one that now when we're talking about form, should this guy be in the squad? As a matter of fact, let me ask you.
Go on. I think I know who you're
Trent
going to say.
Alexander-Arnold.
I didn't think you were going to say that.
Trent Alexander-Arnold, on current form, should he be in the England squad?
I would say not. No, personally. I mean, I've been at Anfield the last few games. The body language, the lack of aggression, the lack of running, which is totally unexcusable, Rob. I mean, I've heard you speak about it before. When you're at a game and you see a player who is being targeted by the other team, for instance, right, Daley Blind flicks one down the line, he kind of watches it go over his head, and Ajax score from that. Now, if we are going on form, which we're clearly not because of some other names, then he shouldn't be in the team. However,
on talent he gets in.
On talent he's there all day long.
On current
form, I would say he maybe deserved to get dropped.
I saw that Napoli game, the way he got
Robbie,
beaten in that game.
That game, man.
I mean, I'm just like,
But the lack of running, the lack of aggression, the passion, it's totally unexcusable. Listen, I was at the Ajax game the other night. He was slightly better. The whole team was slightly better. We run about 8 kilometres more than we did against Napoli. So things are starting to improve. But right now, I'd say that's a stretch. And also, you've got to remember, Liverpool fans, they wouldn't be too bothered about him being in this squad. If anything, they'd rather him get the rest. But if we see the same form that he's currently delivering in a Liverpool shirt and an England shirt, then it's going to be a tough one for him.
Yeah, I'm happy with the majority of the other defenders. Good to see Tomori.
Brilliant to see Tomori, not just good. He's been overlooked for the longest, Robbie. And just because you go to AC Milan doesn't mean you should be cast away.
Well, he won the title with AC Milan,
and just signed a new big deal, and he's happy as Larry out there. And I'm so
John
happy
Stones has been, he's been good. Kieran Trippier has been very good at Newcastle, and Kyle Walker does what he says on the tin. He's always good. Midfielders, I'm quite happy. Well,
I'm not happy with these though at all, Rob.
Jude Bellingham, exceptional.
Big tick.
Definitely happy with him. Declan Rice, quality player. James Ward-Prowse, to have him in there. I mean, I always think he's a great deliverer of the ball, great on set pieces. He earns his way in. Now, should Mason Mount? This is another guy who's normally good for England, has been badly off form this season.
No goals or assists for Mason Mount this year.
No goals or assists for Mason Mount this season. He's in the squad. Calvin Phillips, no games.
We've got to stop here. We have to stop right here, Robbie, because
no games for Calvin Phillips.
Are you okay? And again, I go back to the relationships that Southgate holds with some key players in the squad. We know that he likes to play Rice and Phillips. We know that he likes to play Maguire. We know that he loves Mason Mount and he'll try and fit him in any way possible. Calvin Phillips? Are you okay, Rob? This guy came on as a sub for City, first day of the season at West Ham, in that horrible highlighter kit, for 10 minutes. I'm sorry. What are the levels that you need to be in here?
Because he came on in the Champions League for about 30 seconds. It is a surprise that Calvin Phillips is in the squad when he's had so little.
Is a howler, right?
I mean, let's have it right. He has had a lot of injury problems last season.
Yeah.
He's got to move to Man City, but he's not playing.
He's not playing. And didn't we say this though? Didn't we say that he'd be the backup to Rodri? I think when you talk to the likes of the big Steves, the big City fans, they say, "Oh no, he's coming in to play, mate. He's coming in to play," and that he hasn't played, and he's injured most of the time anyway. So. It's quite similar to how we've not been able to play Naby Keita at Liverpool at the minute, but he's selected for the Guinea squad.
Yeah, but that's
how does that work?
It's a bit different.
I just don't see Calvin Phillips has earned this place, and I think there's other players that could have got in ahead of him.
Up front, Tammy Abraham. Hasn't started the season as hot as he was last year, but I get that. He's in there. Jared Bowen, again, not quite on the fire like he was last season, but you get that. Phil Foden's always in there.
Is he? Phil Foden?
Of course, man.
Really?
Of course.
I think he's been missing this year, and I think this is the year
he hasn't been missing.
That we might see someone like a Saka take over him in terms of being that golden boy.
Yeah, listen, he hasn't been missing though. I wouldn't say he's been missing.
Maybe not missing, but he hasn't done enough.
Yeah, Harry Kane, that's an obvious one. Bukayo Saka, great to see him in there. Raheem Sterling, even though he's not been on fire at Chelsea in scoring goals, he's been involved. I definitely think he needs to be in there. Yeah. And of course, Ivan Toney we mentioned. But here's another name.
I know,
here's another name, Jack Grealish. Now, I mean, I understand he should be in the squad, right? But at club level at the moment, Jack Grealish, I mean, I was watching him the other night in the Champions League game. He got hooked in the end. He was really poor. As a matter of fact, when he came off, that's when City started really playing great stuff.
They scored 2 goals when he came off.
You know, he just seems to be on his dribbling at the moment. He's just running into players and that. I mean, he's an absolute quality player. But I mean, what do you just say to yourself? You bought it for me. Now you're going to break it.
I didn't see it.
Do you just say to yourself, right, he's off form, don't play him, or do you have to have an element of, all right, he's maybe not on the greatest of form, but as I said earlier, he's never let us down. He's a quality player, and I think he'll do it for England.
I know I look like a City fan today in this T-shirt, by the way. I'm not. But Jack Grealish, we've got to start, and I'm smiling as I say this because I know it's going to hurt some people. We've got to start labelling this man as a flop. 44 games for City, Rob. He's only scored or assisted in 9 out of those 44 games. The man's 27. It's not as if he's a 21-year-old and we're saying give him time. He's at the peak, the pinnacle really of where he should be in his career, and it's just total
when he plays for England,
every time.
But when he plays for England, he turns it on.
Has he scored many goals for England? I think he scored 1 goal for England so far.
And a lot of times, even for England, it's this why Southgate's always constantly bringing him off the bench for England as well.
Well, he's not starting for City. He's not really set the world alight for England. I know he got an assist for Kane at Wembley last year, but
yeah,
I just don't think he's hit the levels at all, and that's an understatement, really.
Certainly, I'd say with a lot of these players in this England squad, they're not hot at the moment. You know what I mean? They're not hot. Even I look like someone like Saka. I think he's been okay so far this season. But he's not been where he was last season yet. But it's still early in the season, and we want, you know, it's a building process until they get to that World Cup. But you happy with the squad?
If I'm honest, not entirely.
Bit underwhelming, isn't it?
It is a bit underwhelming, but as you said, you can only pick the best of what's available, and if the available aren't really setting the world alight, then it's what we've got.
Who starts in goal for you? Because obviously there's no
no
Pickford, who's been. I have to say he has been a player on form. He's been brilliant.
Tough for me to admit that.
He was brilliant against Liverpool the other day.
But he's number 1.
Nick Pope, Aaron Ramsdale, Dean Henderson. Who starts?
I don't think you're going to like this, but I would go with Pope only because Ramsdale, I think, it's a tough one with Ramsdale.
Dean Henderson's been on form as well.
Henderson saved a couple of penalties recently. The only thing I'd say about Pope is he came to Anfield a few weeks ago when we got that late winner, and he's not a very good kicker of the ball, Rob.
No.
I don't know if you've seen him up close kicking it,
he's
but he's not a good kicker of the ball.
Whereas Ramsdale is.
Whereas Ramsdale's better with his feet,
is really good.
But I think in his gloves, you know, saving shots, I do think Pope's a little bit better than Ramsdale, but it wouldn't surprise me if Ramsdale started that at all.
All right, well, listen, we want to hear from you guys, right? Are you happy with the England team? Remember, England face Italy and they face Germany. We're going to be doing watch-alongs for those games here on DR Sports, so make sure you check them out. But are you happy with the squad? Who for you shouldn't be in this squad, and who for you has been left out that should be in the squad? That is what we want to know. Let me just run through the squad.
No Sancho as well, by the way, Rob.
No Jadon Sancho, no Rashford either.
No.
And there was a lot of talk that Rashford would be in it, but no, did he pick up an injury? I'm not sure, but no Rashford in the squad.
Playing well.
He has actually been playing well over the last few weeks, but no Rashford in the team. But let's run through the team again. It's Nick Pope in goal for Newcastle, Aaron Ramsdale of Arsenal, Dean Henderson of Nottingham Forest, Trent Alexander-Arnold of Liverpool, Ben Chilwell Chelsea, Connor Cody of Everton, Eric Dyer Tottenham, Mark Gay of Crystal Palace, Reece James Chelsea, Harry Maguire Man United, Luke Shaw Man United, I can't believe those, John Stones of Man City, Tomori of AC Milan, Kieran Trippier, Newcastle, Kyle Walker, Man City. Midfielders, Jude Bellingham of Borussia Dortmund, Mason Mount of Chelsea, Calvin Phillips, who I think plays for Man City, Declan Rice of West Ham, James Ward-Prowse of Southampton, and up front, Tammy Abrahams of Roma, Jarrod Bowen of West Ham, Phil Foden of Man City, Jack Grealish of Manchester City, Harry Kane from Tottenham, Bukayo Saka of Arsenal, Raheem Sterling from Chelsea, and Ivan Toney of Brentford. That is the England lineup, or shall I say the England squad that will take on both Italy and Germany. And once again, you can watch those here on DR Sports with our brilliant watch along. AGT, once again, thank you very much for the drink,
pleasure,
mate. Appreciate that.
Let's go and have a bev.
Let's go and have a drink. See you guys later.
Love to see it.
Nice one.